Hello everyone. Um, Welcome to today's group discussion. This will be a general discussion on React and React Native. So I have written down some of the points, and is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So first thing I would want to talk about is the React Hooks API, and I think it has been more than 1 year since it has been introduced to the pretty stable version of React and using Webpack and Babel and all. So I just wanted to know everyone in this chat that is everyone familiar with React Hooks now, uh, or people are still on the learning curve, and what are your opinions on it? Okay, and I think React hooks are the pretty basic part of React now, and it's no longer omitable in any form. And more and more APIs are being upgraded and completely relying on React hooks. Uh, just React navigation being one of the example. One of the APIs, sorry, one of the packages I got to know in the recent time was SWR. That's a caching service for React. So, does anybody has an experience with SWR package for React?
I had a quick look with SWR. This is the one by Vercel, right? The Zeet.
Yeah,
Okay. I had a quick look. I never tried it hands-on, but it's pretty neat how you can make fetch calls and also cache it. So nice adapter, I would say.
yeah. So one thing I noticed was whenever we are using React Redux or any sort of state management to store our API responses, we actually ended up duplicating a lot of API calls. We ended up writing script for polling things. We ended up writing script for caching, and we also made use of native React hooks to actually have memoized results for the APIs. And as SWR enables us, it actually just lets us have the response as a key value, and one key value can be identified for one API call, and every API call can be cached, and it automatically refreshes your result whenever your window comes in focus. So that's pretty neat. And more React Hooks APIs are coming now later on. So it is a very good thing to look on. Also, some of the hooks which were put on by React Redux, uh, it's also good to look on, but I think it's little unstable compared to their HOC counterpart. Anybody has experience on using the hooks provided by React Redux?
You mean the selector and dispatch? Use dispatch and use selector.
Yeah, use selector and use dispatch. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some experience with that.
How's the connect method? Is it still the same? Like, do we still need to wrap the components into the connect method, or do we have a hook for connect as well?
Actually, Sanket, the connect method is still the go-to way to get your data from Redux. But we also have an addition to that with hooks, because when we are making custom hooks, there's no way we can connect those functions using HOC. So the hooks provided by React Redux is pretty useful there. But I don't think someone should ever replace connect function with those with React Redux hooks. The reason being, states are sometimes very stale and doesn't update correctly. Sometimes the equality functions misbehave. I mean, the old issues which we had in React Redux in the early days are still present on the custom hooks provided by React Redux. So,
Okay.
did anyone stumble upon any other new hooks APIs? I mean, provided by any other packages which can be a part of our daily life here?
I've used React Spring. It has pretty good
Okay.
hooks to animate the things. So it has a lot of built-in animations. I found it really helpful.
Okay. I also stumbled upon some hooks for server-side rendering and all those things. And I think we are pretty much moving forward to moving everything to hooks and probably forgetting about the HOCs altogether. And how do you guys feel about converting all your codes to React hooks and ditching all those component life cycles? Did you feel more comfortable using component life cycles, and does this feel like a extra work to you, or does using React hooks feel more simpler and more streamlined to you?
Neeraj, hi, are in the side. So I've been using React hooks from a long time. So I've been using React hooks like reuse reducer and use selector for Redux also, and I also used as SWR also. So I am pretty comfortable with React hooks only, because like if we want to do something on a change, like if we want to recalculate some big functions on some basic prop change, so in components we need to check that in component did update, and then we have to check whether the value has changed or not. But in React hooks, using React hooks, we can use memo, or also we can use effect. So we can just do small custom hooks. We can create small custom hooks and then use. So I pretty like that thing also.
Basically, our code flow has been more simplified and streamlined just because of the introduction to hooks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone using React Navigation? I mean, how many of you are using React Navigation as your go-to navigation manager in your React projects?
Neeraj, before we move forward, since we are talking about hooks, can you talk about what you built recently?
Using hooks. Okay. So
Himanshu, your mic is muted. He's trying to say something.
Yeah, so I think everyone knows about the new state management library that we have built, sync state. So for consuming the documents, like it works with documents. So it's like a document-based state management, and it helps you like sync your documents across multiple users, or like multiple connected clients. So for consuming data from your document, or like you can say state from the document, you have to use paths. So it's like a JSON path. So we have created hooks for that. So when you use doc hook and provide a path to it, it will return something similar to state and set state. So it will provide those like state and set state kind of function. So let's say you have to dos. So if you like use path slash to dos, then it will return to dos and set to dos function. So kind of similar to like state and set state. But also like for reactivity, we don't use connect method here like we do in Redux. So when you use this useDoc hook, it just subscribes to that part of the document which it's fetching. So did anyone get the chance to check this out? Like did anyone try this library?
I think Gaurav Porwal and Shakti were trying out sync state.
Okay.
So Neeraj and whoever is using like hooks and React and state management, I would recommend. We need feedback, so like go ahead and try it out and let us know how you feel about it. So it's a general purpose state management, much like very easier compared to Redux. But go ahead and try it out and let Himanshu know like how you feel about it.
Yeah, Himanshu, thanks for the introduction. I'll definitely try that on, and I'll let you know what I feel about it. And does anybody want to speak more about anything else about React hooks? I mean, and it can be anything ranging from your experience, or anything you feel about React hooks, or anything you have done on this. Anybody, if wants to speak on it. Okay, let's move forward. So I think in React Native, we mostly use React Navigation as our go-to navigation manager, and also in some of the React web projects, React Native can be React navigation can be very useful. So, how many of you are using React navigation in at least one of your projects?
I've been using React navigation in my projects.
Okay, Vinay. Have you guys? Yeah, Aryan, you were speaking.
Yeah, that's same as Vinay.
Okay.
I've been using.
Okay. Have you guys upgraded from React Navigation 4.0 to 5.0, and are you stuck with 4.0?
I've tried both ways. I worked both with 4 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vinay, okay, can you elaborate on the differences which are now in the React Navigation 5 compared to 4?
Yeah. So I guess React Navigation 4 was pretty much like a configuration, if I'm not wrong, right? We had to provide a kind of a JSON structure to it, which defined whatever our structure was for our stacks or tabs or side drawer. Whereas this React Navigation 5 is much better because we can declare the entire structure in the form of a JSX, just like we write our entire code in React and React Native. So I guess the learning curve was very large for React navigation libraries, which are quite old ones. Whereas using the React Navigation 5, it's pretty easy. So even if you need to handle an authentication part, that becomes really easy in React Navigation 5 via conditionally rendering the screens. Whereas in the earlier versions, you had to use App Switcher, which was quite tedious for someone who was pretty much new to React Navigation.
Okay. Aryan, I think you were speaking something.
I have not used a lot of React Navigation for version 4, but in 5, I've been using it. So I really like that things like the switch navigator is now gone. And when I started React earlier in this year, so I started with version 4. So I have been going through the docs and all, and these are like I'm not able to understand things very clearly. But when I have just started working in previous month, so in React Navigation 5, the docs are very pretty clear about that and how we should go, and all the switch things are gone and they are just text and all.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to speak about React Navigation? Okay, so React Navigation 5.0 is a pretty big upgrade over 4.0, and it's really a very good example of how a package can really be rebuilt using hooks, and it can provide very new functionalities. It can make your package very simple to use, and I think React Navigation proved it in a pretty good way. Also, managing a lot of things, as Vinay said, authentications, and also maintaining a structure between your screens, maintaining a tree structure when you want it. React Navigation 5.0 has enabled us to do that, and now the documentation is also very simpler compared to the previous version. I would definitely recommend that package to everyone who is struggling with any other package using navigation on React. Or also, if someone is stuck on 4.0, I'll definitely recommend go to 5.0. I think it will take 1 or 2 days to get used to React Native 5.0 because it's completely different from what it was before. But I will definitely recommend it. Also, moving ahead.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do we have support for React as well, or is it just for React Native?
Yes, again, we have complete support of React as well. It's a different package, and I think all the APIs work the same way.
Okay, nice. And have you used it for React at all?
Yeah, I have used it for a to-do app in React. It felt really simple. It felt like I was using React Router only. It just syntaxes were a little different, and it didn't feel like using a React Native package on React.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Is everyone using TypeScript now, or I mean, how are all of you guys using TypeScript and prefer to use TypeScript in your project?
Yeah, TypeScript is pretty much preferable nowadays. It maintains your project pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, Aryan, you were saying?
No, nothing. I'm not using TypeScript a lot.
Okay. So I think anybody else wants to give their opinion on TypeScript? I'm okay. Sanket, I can see your message now. Okay. Uh, okay. Does anybody wants to speak about TypeScript and what do they feel about it?
So
Um,
when you're working on a project which has, a lot of developers,
okay.
earlier I worked on a project which was not at all written in TypeScript. So it made handling the project really difficult. There was no proper type checking. So anyone used to pass any amount of variables. There was no proper documentation how you need to write the function, what is the expected arguments, what should be the return type. So whenever working in a project which is, handled by a big dev team, it becomes really tedious to handle all that development. So to keep proper checks and make code proper readable, I guess TypeScript is really helpful. And provided it also throws compile time errors, that's also really good and helps us debug the application quite good.
Okay. Sanket, can you tell us about your happiness that we are over Flow now? Actually, I haven't used Flow before, and I have used TypeScript from the beginning, which I mean, I have either used vanilla JavaScript or TypeScript. Can you explain or put some light on how TypeScript is better than Flow now?
I think Facebook was using Flow internally a lot, and initially, I mean, about a couple of years ago, Flow was the default thing that came with Create React app. But recently they have like started like a plain JS version and a TypeScript version, and they have dropped Flow completely. So I think we have passed that storm, which is good that we have less fragmentation in the React community, and more people are adopting TypeScript, and that's for the good. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation, Sanket. TypeScript 4.0 actually just dropped in the stable release, and I've been looking for the changes which they are put in. And turns out there are not any breaking changes, and also it's not a major change. They just they just manage their versions differently, and now we don't have to put any on our catch blocks, and now we can have unknown as a types, and there are some small changes which you can go through. And okay, uh, okay, let's move ahead now. So all of you who are working on React Native project or any kind of mobile project, how are you guys managing your push notifications?
One Signal.
Okay. Uh,
I
Anybody
did
else?
that a year back, but I don't know what you guys are using. I was using One Signal, so yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Shankadeep. And anybody else?
Yeah, we were also using One Signal for the notification.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I had a fortune of having some hands-on on Firebase cloud messaging, and I think it's way cleaner and way more simplified than how One Signal is handling the notifications. One thing you would have to uh, keep in mind while using FCM is FCM always prioritizes on delivering you the messages rather than showing you the messages. So if you want to have push notifications working uh, properly on your device, then you would have to use some third-party notification services like Notify and all, Notify or React Native notifications. There's a community package. So what it can do is you can have a listener in your background, and you have to fire your notifications locally rather than being it from the server. Also, while using SCM, I encountered one or two things which I generally wouldn't on one signal, that I had to do a lot of things from the APNS side, which is for Apple, and also from the notification payload side for the Android, that I had to set a lot of things on the server side rather than relying on FCM and my client notification service. So, does anybody has some experience on FCM? They can shed their, they can tell their experience over there.
And I have a question with FCM. So, like, how
Yeah.
does it work? So, I think if we are using FCM, we need to have like React Native Firebase as a package. So, we need to integrate our app with React Native Firebase, right? If you're planning on
Yeah,
using FCM.
it's a part of React Native Firebase. Yeah.
Okay, so if our app does not have a Firebase database, so like how does it change? Because just for the notifications, I'll have to like have the entire Firebase dependency in my app. Is it worth it? I don't know. I haven't used it. I'm just asking.
So actually, you don't have to have a database and neither an authentication service or anything to use FCM with your app. Yeah, you have to install your Firebase core dependencies and Firebase cloud messaging dependency for getting the notifications. And it works pretty much the same way, that you have a admin package which you would use to send notification from your backend, and you have a client package which you can use to listen for your notifications. Then you have to use some kind of third-party applications to show the notification.
Okay. So that the package that we're talking about, React Native Firebase, that needs linking, right? It's not a JS only package.
No, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, after the React Native has been updated.
Okay. Yeah. Auto linking is what they call it, I guess.
Yeah, but you are right that we have to install Firebase on a native site, and we have to provide credentials on a native site to get Firebase working properly and also on the background. Otherwise, we have to rely on our JS being initialized to or Firebase to actually do anything. Okay. Does anybody want to shed some more light on this topic, or can we move ahead to next one? Okay. The next thing I would want to talk about is the design systems which all of you are using. So, are you all guys using design systems, or still we have preferences against design systems with some of you? And what are the design systems you are using right now? And if you stumbled upon something new which you would want to talk about here.
Is it design systems or UI library? I think UI library a lot of us are using, but I'm not sure. Design systems, it's like kind of vague for now, but UI library, I think a lot of us are using in our projects. So.
Okay. Which are the UI libraries which are the UI libraries you guys have been using, and does anybody still not using UI libraries and creating their own components everywhere?
So I recently came across ChakraUI. I'm very, very impressed with that. It uses style system and emotion. Style system is a general guideline of how to build component libraries. Would you mind opening it up in the browser, Neeraj? Chakra-UI?
Yeah, sure.
So Ankur recently started using it yesterday, actually, and it's pretty neat because it's customizable, just like Tailwind CSS, without CSS. It's CSS in JS. So if you scroll down, you'll see some sample snippets. So it's a low-level design system which restricts you not to use absolute values and use it from the theme. And it's highly customizable, just like Tailwind. We can see that we have flex component as well, and with flex we can pass in like the third end. We have empty is equal to 2, which means like margin top is equal to 2x from the theme file, which is beautiful. And you also get to customize the theme file so that you can change the gutter size and the default, like what does 2x mean, what does 3x mean. And it has everything, like complex component to step component. It doesn't even bloat too much. So the design is on you. It doesn't come up with a lot of designs itself, but it's good enough to be customized. And this is a really nice example. So here we don't have a card component, but we have a box, right? And then you can put some border and things like that. So it's beautiful. We were planning to build native base 3 on the same line, but before we could release native base 3 for React Native, this came out. So I'm having a discussion with Shivraj right now whether to build native base 3.2 on the same line that works well for React and React Native both. So let's see if that goes. Ankur, you want to talk about this? You have built something, right?
Yeah, like I could create like anything I wanted to. Like it has like it is like the perfect amount of like low level. Like I could customize everything on my own, and like comparing it with Bootstrap, like I kind of faced some limitations where I could not, like I would have to like add my own style and like to customize everything. Like but with this, like I could easily like design anything I wanted, and especially with the Flex component, like you could like create anything with it.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that it's CSS and JS, so you don't have to deal with, say, SCSS variable or less variable, or include a separate CSS file. You just include the NPM library and everything is in there. So that's pretty interesting. Neeraj, can you open this documentation of this one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has, this is the theme file, what you see here. You can define breakpoints. It has responsive options. It has fonts and different font sizes that restrict you. Like you should use only these many. And then we have, like, if you scroll down, we have different types of colors available and a theme provider. We have components here, and we also have some imperative API. Scroll on the left panel, Neeraj, and go to the toast component. Toast at the bottom, yeah, toast.
Yeah.
So they provide a really nice hook, and you can use toast, and then with imperative API you can show the toast, which is really nice. That you're not adding a component and you're using the toast method, much like, say, alert method, and it shows a really nice, beautiful toast at the bottom of the screen. So perfect combination of imperative, themeable, and whatever a good design system or a component library should have. I think it has most of the things, but we are still trying it out. It may have roadblocks, but a really nice work by, this is a guy from Nigeria. Nigeria is really booming right now with all these great developers. All right.
Yeah, it already solves one of my problems. I was using one external third-party library to show toast on one of the projects I've been working on. So we had to show toast on web for some notifications, and I had to use one external library just for the toast function to be imperative and not to be requiring to use any component. So not relying and maybe calling it from anywhere, maybe a hook or maybe a helper function or anything. So I think it's a nice addition, and I can reduce my dependency by a little bit now if I use this.
Nice.
Okay. Does someone wants to speak more about any type of any UI library, maybe this, or other than this, which you guys have been working on?
Yeah, Sanket, this I think is for React Web, right? Do we have something similar for React Native, or is native based the answer to it, or like what are we planning on doing there?
Yeah, Sango, thanks for turning on the camera. I just sent you a message. Which microphone are you using? The quality is really good.
This one. So now you know.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so build one, Sanko. I would say build native as 3.0 on the same lines.
Actually, I remember sending you a message where we were planning, like where the ChakraUI is very similar to the one which we are doing. So I don't think Chakra supports React Native as of now. So that would help if we could, like, I think Shivraj is in this call if he's not sure, but yeah, that would be helpful if we can.
Yeah, see, the API is inspired by style system, so probably we must build something. It's high time that we are a React Native company and we are like one of the like ones, and we're not building something like this. So let's see. I think Saurabh and you can plan like how we can like have somebody just dedicated working on this, because this is one individual developer who has built this. Right.
Okay, just one, I think. Yeah, he's on Twitter. I saw you tagging him. So
yeah. Great.
Okay.
Okay. Does someone wants to speak more on any other UI libraries?
Not on UI libraries. I have a request. We have a meetup on 26th. We need speakers. I have put a message there. There's no one turning up. So there's Vinay and me every time. It won't look nice if me and Vinay turn up every time to speak. So if one of you could maybe help us out there. So Gurman is probably speaking. So we need one more. Vinay is there. I'm there if nobody turns up. Sanket is there, of course. But yeah, we need someone other than the three of us. So feel free to reach out to me. I can help you selecting a topic if that's a blocker for you guys. I have to drop off now. I have another call. So yeah, guys, continue on that. Nice meeting you all. Bye.
Okay. I think Shankade's message is perfectly heard by everyone. Anybody wants to speak on a meetup, you can contact him. And, let's see. Okay. Moving ahead. As I have experienced that we have been using a pretty much same directory structure for our all React Native applications, and I have been seeing a little bit of change in the industry standards, not the industry standards per se, but on some of the articles or some of the repositories, they have been using some other directory structure. So have you guys been experimenting on any other kind of directory structures, which project structures actually? Are we experimenting with any other kind of project structure than we use regularly on our React Native projects? Okay. Okay. Moving ahead. So yeah, was someone speaking? Okay. Moving ahead. So after React Native 60.0, it has been it has become very easy to now link packages to the native side, and we don't have to link our packages explicitly to get it to work on some of the native things, like just we are talking about notifications, maybe camera and all. So are you guys happy with all the third-party packages you are using, or have you guys felt a need of? Okay, all right. Sanket, I'll come back to this again. So, have you guys felt a need of using native bridging? I mean, have you guys felt the need of writing native code for your particular use case, or have you been happy with third-party packages you have been provided with?
I had a need of integrating Wing maps into React Native. There is no package for that. So we had to write native code in order to integrate that thing. That was a requirement in our project. So
okay, Vinay, can you? Yeah, go ahead.
The integration was not done by me. It was done by my project mate. I didn't really look much into the native code, how it integrated with React Native, but that was a requirement on our side.
Okay. Yeah, and does anybody wants to speak more about native bridging and third-party applications? Okay. Yeah. Moving ahead, one thing I would want to talk about now is the documentation services. The documentations is a pretty big task whenever we are completing our project and publishing it. And I have seen that people are using Next.js with MDF, sometimes Gatsby with MDF, and also I have seen DocuService for some of the projects. So, what have you guys been working on? And what have you guys been using, and what are the advantages? What are the advantages you see while using those?
Sorry, was it for me?
Yes, Sanket. Actually, it was for everyone, but yeah. So I'll repeat. I was saying that people have been using Next.js with MDX and also Gatsby with MDX, and Docusaurus is also becoming very popular right now. So, what are you guys been using, and what advantages and disadvantages do you think in the packages you have used for documentation?
Docusaurus was very easy to set up, and it's Next plus MDX or Gatsby plus MDX. It's for general purpose markdown sort of thing. Right? You need some extra step for installation, or it's highly customizable. Docusaurus is also highly customizable, but the Docusaurus is mainly for documentation, whereas Next plus MDX and all those other options can be used for blogging and basic general purpose use cases as well. And a lot of libraries like I think Recoil and Redux also I think is using Docusaurus, and it's very neat. We could get the documentation ready in a couple of days, and it was very complete and professional on the surface. So I would recommend. I would go ahead and use it again.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a look. I had a look on Next.js plus MDX before. I think it's actually a pretty low learning curve if you just want to start with it. But I'll have a look with Docusaurus. One thing I've heard is that it's still in alpha and it might not might not produce very responsive web pages for documentations.
Okay.
But okay, I'll have a look, and also I'll tell you about how I feel about it.
Yeah. Like we are still looking for it. Like with native base 2, we used Gitbook, but that's very old now. And this is working really well. The responsiveness and everything is very nice. Rohit was able to do it in a couple of days. So
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
I'll definitely give it a try.
Yeah.
Anybody else wants to shed more light on any kind of documentation services you guys have been using? Okay, so I think we have some time left. So do any of you want to speak on anything related to React Native, or any question you want to ask to the general public right here?
I'd like to talk about React Native. Right now, the project I'm working on, it requires the app to be made more accessible to the people who are blind. So in order to do that, what we are doing is like we are properly maintaining the support for screen readers, so that user is able to hear out whatever the content is present on the screen. And apart from that, we have also integrated the sounds whenever user touches on some touchable components, as well as integrated haptics. So when using application, it gives a really good experience to the user when we are using mobile apps, especially on the iOS. It has a dedicated hardware engine for giving a haptics feedback. So this is something which was really new for me.
Okay, and how was your experience managing all the haptic feedbacks from React Native?
Okay, so it was pretty easy, to be honest. We just had to integrate a React Native package for that, and we just had to call out the functions, and that made us work that thing.
Okay, thanks for the information, Vinay. So I will conclude this GD for today, and I will just give you guys one extra question to put here on. So anybody wants to put a question to the people who are listening right now, so you can go ahead. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining this group discussion. It has been a really productive call. I'll wish you all a good evening now, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.